Trump reportedly approves high-level operation following pressure from Netanyahu. Israel intensifies airstrikes on Tehran as United States holds energy targets. Global oil prices surge following Iran's formal denial of diplomatic talks. Contradictory signals emerge as Trump claims Iran desires a strategic deal. Gulf nations shift stance toward potential military participation against Tehran. Trump reportedly approves high-level operation following pressure from Netanyahu. President Donald Trump has reportedly authorized a high-stakes military operation directed at the Iranian leadership. This decision followed intense discussions with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. According to Reuters, Netanyahu argued for a joint operation targeting Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The Israeli leader suggested that such a strike is necessary to end the current conflict. This reported approval marks a drastic escalation in the United States military posture. The operation is believed to involve highly specialized units and precision strike capabilities. United States officials have not officially confirmed the specific nature of the authorized mission. However, sources suggest that the plan focuses on the decapitation of the Iranian command structure. Prime Minister Netanyahu reportedly presented intelligence indicating the supreme leader's direct role in recent escalations. The White House has not released an official statement regarding the specifics of the approval. Reuters notes that such a move would be unprecedented in modern Middle Eastern warfare. The potential for a massive retaliatory response from Iranian proxy forces is considered extremely high. Military analysts suggest that this decision could fundamentally alter the regional power balance. The Iranian government has warned that any attempt on its leadership would result in total war. United States intelligence agencies are reportedly monitoring the movements of high-ranking Iranian officials closely. The operation has not been independently verified by the Department of Defense at this time. Strategic experts believe this move represents a maximum pressure tactic taken to its absolute limit. The internal debate within the administration regarding the risks of this operation is reportedly ongoing. Israel intensifies airstrikes on Tehran as United States holds energy targets. Israel has launched a fresh wave of aerial bombardments targeting the Iranian capital of Tehran. The Guardian reports that the strikes hit multiple military installations within the city limits. Simultaneously, President Trump has reportedly requested a pause on attacks against Iranian energy infrastructure. This strategic hold is believed to be aimed at preventing a total collapse of global oil markets. The Israeli Air Force utilized advanced munitions to bypass Iranian air defense systems. Large explosions were reportedly heard near Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps headquarters. The Guardian noted that the strikes targeted drone production facilities and missile storage units. While Israel intensifies the kinetic campaign, the United States is maintaining a calculated restraint. United States officials suggest that keeping the energy sector intact provides future diplomatic leverage. Tehran's residents have reportedly sought shelter as air raid sirens echoed across the metropolitan area. Iran claims that its air defenses successfully intercepted a majority of the incoming projectiles. However, satellite imagery is expected to show significant damage to several military compounds. The tactical divergence between Israel and the United States highlights a complex regional coordination. Israel remains focused on degrading Iran's immediate military capability to strike its territory. The United States appears more concerned with the broader economic implications of a regional war. Uncertainties remain regarding how long the pause on energy infrastructure targets will last. The situation on the ground in Tehran remains tense as more sorties are expected. Global oil prices surge. Following Iran's formal denial of diplomatic talks, oil prices have risen sharply as energy markets react to increasing supply risks in the Gulf. This surge followed a formal statement from Tehran, denying any ongoing negotiations with the United States. Reuters reports that Brent crude futures increased by several percentage points within hours. Investors are increasingly concerned about the security of shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's foreign ministry stated that no direct or indirect talks are currently taking place. This contradicts earlier suggestions that a back-channel diplomatic route was being explored. A report from Reuters suggests that the market is bracing for a potential disruption in exports. The denial of talks has removed hopes for a quick de-escalation of the maritime standoff. Energy analysts suggest that the fear premium is returning to the global oil trade. The United States has not yet responded to Iran's public rejection of a diplomatic path. The risk of a total blockade of the Persian Gulf remains a primary concern for traders. Global shipping companies are reportedly increasing their insurance coverage for vessels in the region. Iran maintains that it has no interest in talking while under the threat of military force. The lack of communication between the two powers increases the likelihood of a tactical miscalculation. Market volatility is expected to continue as long as the kinetic conflict remains active. Contradictory signals emerge as Trump claims Iran desires a strategic deal. President Donald Trump has publicly stated that the Iranian government wants to make a deal. The president suggested that the economic and military pressure is forcing Tehran to the table. However, AP News noted that the Islamic Republic has issued a swift and total denial. Tehran claims that the president's statements are intended for a domestic United States audience. The official Iranian position remains that no negotiations will happen under current conditions. Trump's comments suggest a belief that the Iranian economy is reaching a breaking point. According to AP News, the president believes a grand bargain could be reached to end the war. Iran's leadership has repeatedly called for the lifting of all sanctions before any discussion. The disconnect between Washington and Tehran's public rhetoric is creating significant confusion. Some United States officials suggest that private messages may differ from public defiance. There has been no independent verification of any secret meetings between the two parties. The Islamic Republic's supreme leadership has prohibited any direct contact with the Trump administration. The president's optimism for a deal is seen by some as a strategic psychological tactic. Tehran remains committed to its regional axis of resistance despite the mounting pressure. The possibility of a diplomatic breakthrough remains low, according to most regional observers. Strategic uncertainty is heightened by these conflicting messages from the highest levels of power. Gulf nations shift stance toward potential military participation against Tehran. Several Gulf states are reportedly moving closer to joining the active fight against Iran. The Wall Street Journal reports that nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are reassessing their neutrality. This shift follows increased Iranian threats against regional energy and water infrastructure. Gulf leaders are believed to be discussing direct military coordination with the United States and Israel. Previously, these nations focused on defensive measures and diplomatic de-escalation. The Wall Street Journal noted that the scale of current Iranian aggression is forcing a policy change. United States officials suggest that a regional coalition would provide a more effective deterrent. The potential involvement of Gulf air forces could significantly expand the theater of operations. There are reports that Gulf military assets are being placed on a higher state of combat readiness. Iran has warned that any state assisting the United States will be considered a legitimate target. The threat of retaliatory strikes on Gulf cities is a major factor in these difficult decisions. The realignment of the Middle East into two distinct military blocs appears to be accelerating. The move toward an offensive stance marks a historic departure for many of these oil-rich states. A report from the Wall Street Journal suggests that logistical cooperation is already intensifying. Regional intelligence sharing has reached an unprecedented level since the conflict began. The role of these nations will be critical in the event of a sustained and wider regional war. The geopolitical landscape of the Middle East is currently undergoing a violent and rapid transformation. The reported approval of a strike on Iran's top leadership signals a total shift in United States policy. By moving beyond proxy targets, the conflict is entering an existential phase for the Iranian regime. However, the United States' decision to pause energy attacks reveals a lingering fear of global economic fallout. Israel's continued strikes on Tehran show a determination to degrade Iranian defenses before any escalation. The denial of talks by Iran suggests a leadership that is either unwilling or unable to compromise. As Gulf states consider active participation, the conflict is no longer a localized border dispute. The risk of a multinational war across the entire Persian Gulf has never been higher in the 21st century. Energy markets remain the ultimate barometer of this crisis, reacting to every diplomatic and military move. The convergence of these military and economic pressures is pushing the region toward a final confrontation. The situation in the Middle East remains extremely fluid as military operations continue to expand. Both the United States and Israel appear committed to a path of maximum kinetic pressure. Tehran's refusal to engage in talks suggests that the window for a peaceful resolution is closing. Uncertainties remain regarding the timing of any high-level operation or the potential for a regional truce. The impact on global security and energy stability continues to evolve with every passing hour. To stay updated on the rapidly changing dynamics of this conflict, ensure you are following our coverage. We provide continuous monitoring of verified military movements and geopolitical shifts as they occur. Thank you for joining us for this update on the evolving crisis in the Middle East.